Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I got a disassembly video for you of this little guy right here. This is the Reate Exo. So you might be thinking to yourself, Nick, what the heck? This is a weird looking knife, and well, yes it is. It's a weird knife in every way. The main reason it's weird is because this is not a knife that opens conventionally. Instead, this is a gravity knife. Yeah, that's 100% a thing. And so this blade is just flopping around in here, and this handle basically comes down and locks it shut on either side here. My priority, absolute number freaking one here, is actually going to be to get these screws out of there. Because once those screws are out of there, I imagine it's going to let me pop this titanium bit out, and that should allow me to take the blade out of play, which is going to be really important because otherwise this blade is a little bit dangerous because it's just going to want to slide around. So hopefully I can pop these two screws out, and once I do, something's going to fall away here. Well, here's one of the screws out. And maybe the other one's not in there yet. But once I do, oh yeah, okay, good. That piece is out. So we'll put that there. And then drop this other part here. And then the blade comes the rest of the way out. Okay, and we're good to go. So this right here reveals the blade. And there's really not much to this blade, right? It's just a piece of sliding metal. There is some gunk around here, so this is going to be a little nicer in terms of action than once we're done here. But for the most part, yeah. And then this back part here is just one integral piece, right? So there's just one piece of metal here, which I gotta say, it's kind of neat looking. I think I can probably take this pivot out, but there's a chance I can't, right? No, it's sure coming out. All right, well, that was easy enough. And that should allow me to take this top part off. Not that I think I need to be honest with you. In terms of maintenance, the only thing that matters is the sliding bit. But at the very least, it'll be interesting to see how this thing is constructed. Because there must be a set of ball bearings underneath here. Is that just bushings? Holy crap, that's just a bushing. I think that's just a phosphor bronze bushing. What is going on here? That is. I'm actually very impressed. It doesn't matter particularly that this is a bushing rather than anything else, but it is nice to see. I thought for sure we were looking at bearings just because of how damn smooth the thing is. But indeed, it doesn't look like it. So I'm going to get up in here. I'm going to clean this out. Oh, that looks like it's finally popping out. One other interesting thing is it looks like there's it's like a plug or something on the side of this. There were a few plugs on it. Is that to collect gunk? I really don't know. Well, either way, I'm going to go ahead and clean things off here, using some rubbing alcohol on a cloth. And if you're curious, by the way, about any of the tools I'm using today, go ahead and check out nickshabazz.com/tools, and that'll give you a clearer sense of what I got going on here. I am going to be completely honest with you. I don't understand what these little, almost looks like resin plugs are here. Maybe it feels quite firm, so it doesn't look like it's just accumulated gunk. Maybe one of the engineers who's watching this can tell me what that might be, but regardless, it's a thing, so that's fine. But I am pretty impressed, though. This is very, very smooth, and I had figured we were looking at bearings. See, that's in keeping with the whole thing. This is a very smart thing, but it's also very dumb. And that will be the theme of my overall review. Okay, so we can then clean this part off here and this part here. Wait, there's no bearings on the outside either, because that's just a good old pivot. This is such a weird knife, and I kind of appreciate that. I'm going to be real with you here. Go ahead and clean off the outside of this, because that's going to get some wear. And the outside of this. This guy was actually sent to me, well, after I purchased it. But it does have some use on it already. So we're seeing something a little closer to what you, a little further away, that is, from the factory. Although I gotta say, having handled these guys at Blade West 2020, this is pretty comparable to the action I saw from ones fresh from the factory. So there we go. Blade here is good to go. Is there a way to get in there and clean out this track? Should there be? How am I going to do this? What I'm going to do is try this. Put a little bit more rubbing alcohol on that. Is that the right thickness? Yes. Okay. Good. This is one of the advantages. A lot of people ask, well, Nick, why don't you just use paper towels? Well, that's a fair question. And I'm going to use a watch spring bar tool here to kind of put a little bit of pull through it. A paper towel would fall apart in an instant, doing exactly what I'm doing right here. Whereas these patches are actually, they're designed for cleaning other things, and, you know, it allows you to just pull them through. It allows you to just, they've got the rigidity to them that allows, well, a lot more strenuous use, if you will. And so as a result, and by the way, the other things was for the benefit of the YouTube algorithm. So, but nonetheless, this is a very interesting use case for them and allows me to, particularly when combined with a tool with a little sharpness here, really get through there and pull these guys through, although it looks like I have bunched up. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm causing myself difficulty here, so I'm just going to back it on up. Beep, beep, beep. All right, clean off this top surface here as well, because it looks like that's got some wear and such, and then we can put this guy back together in good shape. Okay. You know, I gotta say, this thing's well engineered. The weirdest freaking thing, though. Okay. So, how does this go back together? Looks like this part here needs to go here, but first I need to put this. So, okay, I'm going to use some knife pivot lube here. It's good for phosphor bronze, things like that, and hopefully that'll let me slip everything in there together. So I'll first off start by slipping this whole affair in. Then I'd like to rotate it some. That distributes the lubrication on it. Beautiful. Next stop is going to be to put this inside, put a little bit of lubrication on there, and then slip this collar on inside. Not collar, I suppose bushing inside. I'm sure some engineer somewhere is just going through the roof. You idiot! But hey, whatever. All right, next step is going to be to put, I'm going to go ahead and lubricate right here. Just put a little lubrication onto this general surface here, because it's pretty clear that there is some potential for wear, and why not, right? Lubrication is cheap. Well, okay, relative to new knife. Okay, now I'm going to try and pop everything back together here. There we go. Got that. All right, good. Next stop is going to be to put the pivot through here. Pivot's clean, good to go. Let's go ahead and do that. And slip the pivot on in. I don't even know. Yeah, it's a pivot at this point. Sure, why not? Put a little bit of thread locker on there. Use some blue Loctite 242. Is it 242? Well, technically, it's medium strength for thread locker in a stick, but I think it corresponds to the regular stuff. I just like the stick action because it's a little easier to keep controlled and maintained. Okay. Beautiful. So that's all good to go. Is there blade play? Kind of. But it's on a bushing, so it can't tighten any more than that. All right. I'm sure that's a pleasant sound on camera. Next step is going to be to put this guy back together. Put the blade back in and then put those... Okay, this is going to want some lubrication, right? I'm going to go ahead and I'm probably going to over-lubricate this, but because I know that all of these blade surfaces here are contact surfaces, I'm just going to go ahead and do so. That doesn't make sense if there's not a prior clause to which it refers, but whatever. Okay, and then a little bit here as well. My hope is that this will then distribute itself on various contact surfaces. Okay, now the blade is in place, so I'm going to go ahead. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to, for my own safety right now, I'm going to use, I know I happen to have a cable tie right here. This will prevent this from coming open and the blade from coming apart. See, at this point, the blade will deploy on its own, but once I start working on this guy and putting this into place, the blade will be unable to deploy and fall out the other side. So at this point, I just have to, oh, is it not willing to, of course, it's not going to seat itself there. All right, so what I'm going to do is, am I doing this the right direction? Does it matter? Probably not. At the very least, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the process of screwing these guys back in. Oh, no. Okay, there we go. It kind of popped in. So I will use a little bit of thread locker on this guy, just because this is going to get subjected to some shocks, if you will. Okay, now at this point, blade's not going anywhere, so that's good. I'm being overcautious with this cable tie there, but I also, this is a knife that I respect in that sense. You don't give it that respect, it's going to eat your life. Anyways, and then what I'm going to go ahead and do is put a little bit of lubrication right along this rail here, and same thing over here. And then I'll do some on the top of the rail in a moment. But now what I should be able to do is undo this. And there we go. All right, now what I'm going to do is get in here. A little bit there. A little bit there. That was a little much, but whatever. There. And there. And there. And now what I should be able to do. Okay, there is substantial blade play, but there was before and there will be in the future, because that's the nature of this beast. But everything works well here. It's a little weird to deploy under a camera because, yeah, it needs a certain degree of verticality, but this guy is now put back together and working just as well as it was the day I started it, and I gotta say, I get a little more respect for it still. So, that's a beautiful thing. Anyways, there you go. Hope this has been interesting to you, and that you have yourselves just an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. Bye now.